Hey everyone, welcome to this lesson where we're going to quickly decipher the key differences between shape layers versus raster layers. So let's first create two different layers. One is going to be a raster layer and the other a shape layer. So we'll go ahead and use the rounded rectangle tool for this demonstration. So by default, because we have selected the rounded rectangle tool, a shape layer, and we're going to assume this is left on shape up here for the mode, I'm just going to hold shift to create a perfect square rounded shape here. Now when we do this, we see we have this property that shows up. Now the main way we know this is a shape layer as opposed to a raster layer is this little icon right here in the thumbnail preview of the layer. So let's recreate this except on a raster layer. So to do that, what we need to do is to change the mode of this particular tool here to pixels. Now, as you can see, when we did that, we cannot put any type of rounded rectangle shape on this particular layer. That's because you can't add a rastered or pixels to a shape layer. So we have to create a new layer. So we'll come over here, and now we can see we're able to just real quickly hold shift again and make a very similar rounded rectangle there. Okay, so in appearance, these layers look exactly the same, but they're inherently different because one is a raster layer and the other is a shape layer. So we can see just how similar these look. They're pretty much exactly the same. Okay, a rastered layer, as shown here on the right, is one that is purely based on pixels. So a photograph, for instance, is based purely on pixels and therefore can be only shown on a raster layer. Now this shape layer, however, is based more on mathematical equations that are based on these anchor points that we can see if we select this right here. Now, a great thing about shape layers is they're non-destructive, meaning we can scale the size of this layer and it won't become distorted at all. So just to show you real quickly, if we select move tool, hit Control T, and we scale this thing up real large, select my move tool and hit apply, we can see that it looks exactly as it did before. It's real nice, crisp, and smooth. Now, if we try that same thing on this raster layer, hit Control T and scale that up real large. Select the move tool, hit apply, we could see it is now very pixelated and blurry. Now, on the other side of the same coin, there are certain things that you cannot do with a shape layer that you can do with a rastered layer. So just to illustrate this, I'm going to Control 1. I'm going to back up a couple times. And let's say, for example, we wanted to use the eraser tool. Well, if we take the eraser tool right here and we select on our shape layer, we cannot do that. This shape layer must be rasterized before proceeding. So do you want to rasterize the shape? Nope. So we can do this instead over here on the raster layer, and we're completely able to erase away portions of this layer. Now you can manually rasterize a shape layer by right-clicking on the layer and choosing right here, rasterize layer. So now these two layers are pretty much identical. Now real quickly, what about a type layer? What type of layer is a type layer? Well, specifically, it's a type layer. It's not a raster layer or a shape layer. So it's meant specifically for type. Now you can convert a type layer to both a shape layer or a raster layer. So here's how. If I just type in hello, we'll make this bigger real quick by hitting Control T. And if we want to make it a rastered layer, we simply right click and rasterize type. So now we can do whatever we can do with these other two layers here. Or if I back up and change it back into a type layer, we can go over to type and specify convert to shape. Now you could see it's a shape layer as denoted with the icon over here, and we have all these little anchor points that we can adjust in whatever way we like in a non-destructive form. Okay, those are the key differences between a rastered layer and a shape layer. So remember, try to always work with shape layers if you can, because they're non-destructive. So in the next lesson, we're going to take a closer look at layer blend modes. So I'll see you then.